The Team Lally Show was previously recorded.
It's time to enter the world of real estate in Oahu with Hawaii's only true real estate radio show, the Team Lally Real Estate Show. Grab a pen and get ready to take notes. For the next full hour, Hawaii's premier real estate leader, Adrienne Lally, and Attilio Leonardi will bring you the latest in real estate news and real-world strategies on how they can guarantee to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or they'll buy it. Now, here are your hosts, Adrienne and Attilio.
Welcome to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey everybody, this is Attilio, and I want to talk to you about the quality of life that we have today. If you were to look, I can't speak for other countries, but I do know for a fact that 50 years ago in this country as a U.S. citizen, compared to today, that the quality of life statistically is better today. It's better today. Well, I guess not statistically, because that would be like statistics, but more like a factual basis. It is factual that we do live in bigger homes. Technology is greatly improved. 50 years ago, if you were to tell someone, I have this device in one hand that is going to play music out of this other device. Now, what did they have back 50 years ago that played music out of these devices without any wires connected to it? So we're doing it right now.
The radio.
It's called radio. Radio's around for a long time. In fact, that was the Netflix back in the day. Everybody gathered around the radio to hear what was going on, and they were entertained. They were informed. Fast forward to today, if you were back in that day and said, you know what, I'm going to have a device in this left hand, and I'm going to be able to play music, and without any cords or connection, it's going to play out of this other device. What's that?
Like the Bluetooth?
Yeah, Bluetooth with an iPhone and a Bluetooth speaker. And so, fast forward 50 years from now, just imagine what's going to happen. But, hey, most people within our demographic, we get it. Unfortunately, today, I have some bad news from you. You're all going to die.
Eventually.
It's just not going to be today. But we know the demographics of our show. There is a high probability that 50 years from now, all of you, including ourselves, will no longer be here because it's not the youngins that listen to talk radio.
I might still be around.
You might still be around?
Yeah.
How old will you be 50 years from now?
92.
Oh, yeah. You might be pulling it off.
Could be.
Better cut back on the cigarettes and Spam, though.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that.
Yeah. So the point being is that people's perspectives on life is based on what you're seeing on social media, what pundits are talking about on the whatever shows, and what the news talks about. I got some good news for you. All the facts are that quality of life today versus 50 years ago, it's much better. So stop watching the news. Speaking of someone that is making your life, giving you better quality of life.
Right.
If you're an investor owning rental properties. Who am I talking about, Adrienne?
We've got Duke Kim Han of Hawaii Pacific Property Management with his tip of the week.
Hey, Duke.
Oh, man. So, real simple one this week. As everyone sees, it's on every cable outlet, TV, it's in the newspaper about how the real estate prices are just out of control.
Yeah.
Well, that means the rental prices are out of control also.
Oh.
When the real estate price goes up, the rent ask price goes up. So both things work in symphony with each other.
So could you give us an example of that? I know every month we get the reports from High Central on the sales. Do you have any kind of real live examples when you're doing these
with the
rental renewals?
Sure. So for the most of 5 years, the prices in Eva did not move. So you could probably buy a single-family home for somewhere around $600,000 or $700,000 in Eva for years, for probably a good 3 to 4 years. And so that would make the rental price, the rental ask, somewhere between 27 and 32, depending on parking, location, amenities, upgrades, and updates. So that's been the rental ask for Eva, Kapolei, for a long time. Then all of a sudden the sale prices in Kapolei and Eva started creeping up. 800,000, 900,000. Now you're looking at somewhere between 900,000 and $1 million for the same 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house with a garage in Kapolei, Eva.
Yeah.
Now that house, over the last 3 years, has been, let's just say, $3,000 in rent. It's going for $4,000 in rent now.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And
so that's just one example. You know, Makakilo is a fairly new subdivision. I'd probably say Makakilo is less than 15 years old. There are houses on the rim in Makakilo that were probably selling in the high threes at one point. All those houses are over $1 million right now.
Yeah.
So their rent ask is over $35,000 to $4,000.
So what does this mean, Duke, for tenants out there and renters?
Just going to get harder and harder as the real estate ask gets higher and higher. People's credit scores have to go up because it's more competitive. Right now we have, 22 vacants online right now, and I would say 15 of them have applications in today.
Oh, wow.
It's out of control.
And when you get applications, Duke, typically how many people are applying for the same home?
Yeah.
Have you seen that increase?
Normally, no. Well, I mean, the quicker that you put something on the market, the quicker you're going to get a response.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that it's more people, but I would say a portion of the buyers are now renting because they can't afford it or they don't want to buy. They don't want to be, outbid for houses that they were, can only afford the bare minimum on.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that there's buyers out there that would have purchased and now have really been forced into being tenants because of the competitiveness of the market.
Yeah, just because you can buy a house for $1 million doesn't mean you're going to get one.
Yeah, because inventory is super low.
That's a crazy statement that you just said.
Because you may be outbid at $1 million. You may have to go up to 1.1 or 1.25 for a house today.
Or ratchet down what price point
So as a buyer, you're probably going to have to look for $800,000 homes and be ready to bid it up to $900,000 or $1 million.
Well, let's talk about
most realtors are having multiple offers. And
we are.
Most of the stuff has an appraisal clause in there saying that they'll buy the
above appraisal
unit up to above the appraisal. Which means you're going to have to come up with more cash. Not only 20% down in $1 million, but you're going to have to probably put another 30 or 40 grand in your appraisal clause.
I want to talk to the property owners that exist right there because that's who we got Duke on for. Is the existing property owners that are not currently being managed by your company. Would you say, like for rent by owners, that they are probably renting their homes below market? Do you find that being your experience?
They're leaving money on the table
when you
every month.
Take those over, that their rent's below market?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying we just took over a 9-plex building, and 3 out of the 9 were not paying rent on time. So the owners wanted to try and get some enforcement on that.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, when I take over a building like this, I'm not taking over the back ode of the rents and things like that. We're going to try and move forward with them. They're not going to get any rent guarantees on somebody that's already being laid on rent. But there's just so much that people leave on the table because they don't want to have to chase this stuff down every day, put the note on the door, file for mediation, and then go after these people who are not paying rent. Now, regardless what the reasons are, that's not my business.
Yeah.
Our business is to collect rent.
Would you say that if people think by not having professional management or what you guys charge, they think they're saving money, but in fact they're losing money.
And losing their sanity.
They are in a lot of ways. But
and hair.
It's tax deductible.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I'm saying. You're going to have income based, and you're going to say, no, but I pay so much on the payment. But you have other income coming in also.
Yeah.
And are you going to pay your own GE tax? You know, that's the whole big to-do.
Property maintenance.
There's a lot of, there's maintenance that has to be done. Somebody who walks and steps on a sprinkler head, just all kinds of stuff.
I think you guys' tagline should be make more money, keep your hair.
Keep your sanity.
Yeah. Well, we're experienced in all that. And I just got a call a minute ago from a guy accusing us of repairing a sprinkler head in an HOA without his permission. And I said, excuse me, sir?
Yeah.
He says, yeah, you guys repaired the sprinkler head. You didn't even ask me. I said, are you on the board of the HOA?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, we need to be, we need to have an approval process for you guys to repair a sprinkler head. So anyway, back and forth, accusations, we owe them money, blah, blah, blah. They want a copy of the invoice, and they were calling the wrong property management company.
It's kind of like the tech support for Microsoft. The first question, the biggest problem they have, the computer's not on. Turn the computer on.
You know, there's just so much out there to manage that my job will never be, you know, you'll never be
good job
100%.
security. Yeah, with all the problems and challenges.
Well, Duke, thanks for all of the great work that you do for all of our investors here on the island and property owners. And, you know, I know that you guys are always looking for more.
Well,
right?
and then
more to help.
Give us a call.
It's the rent guarantee, which is?
They said we'll tell you up front what the lowest amount of rent we can get for your house.
Yeah.
No games going on. The eviction guarantee is the big one.
The eviction guarantee.
So if we put a tenant in and we can't collect or the person doesn't pay any rent, you know, we've already done all the background checks.
Yeah.
But the legal fees to go through the mediation process and go through eviction right now have really doubled in cost. So we'll take care of all that for you.
Yeah.
Yep,
it's become very tedious.
And then what people perceive as a small one but turns into a big headache, your communication guarantee. What's that one that will leave a
Yeah, we answer our phones. So we'll call you back within 1 hour after you leave a message. So you can call. All of our people have phones on, all the property managers, the office staff, and the people in the maintenance department.
Yeah.
They all answer their phones.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so speaking of answering their phones, I'm going to give that number that our listeners can call, 445-9223. That's 445-9223. Give them a call. They will answer their phones.
Thank you, Duke.
Thank
you.
Duke.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, you know, don't take our word for it that they're pretty awesome. Take a look at their reviews.
Oh, my gosh, so many reviews.
We've, got some crazy ones sprinkled in there, but you know what? I always say that...
Mostly good.
Like 99% good. And because Abraham Lincoln was running property management back in 1850, and he said this: you can only keep some of the people happy, but you cannot keep all of the people happy.
So there is reviews from not only owners that are happy,
but tenants.
There's happy tenants.
We've heard of tenants that are like, hey, they follow Duke and his team around to want to rent properties that they manage. So
because they take care of the properties.
Here's the ideal person right now. You are a for rent by owner. You have no idea. Call them. Have them do a free rental analysis. If you're 20-30% below market and you're only going to pay them 10%, you'd make 10 to 20% by having them manage the property and remove 100% of the headaches.
Yeah, get back so much of your time.
What are you doing? Give them a call.
How much is your time worth? Seriously, give them a call.
And if you're balding, I don't know if he's going to help you with that, but it might, because stress does have people go bald prematurely.
So make sure that you head on over to our website under the resource tab.
Yeah.
And you can take a look at all of our experts that we trust. So Duke is on there, and we've got a whole big group of different experts that we've screened out and we personally use and our clients use.
I want to talk about what we were mentioned, the stats on that, because I always like to say we're a real estate show that's not a real estate show. What does that mean?
So we talk about real estate, but that's not all we talk about.
Yeah, because if we only talked about real estate, you know what I would call that? Boring.
Well,
I'm in the business, and that's boring.
Yeah, well.
It will be boring.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we talk about the sales and the stats.
We have all sorts of stories, but I don't know if they're appropriate for
we can't
radio.
Tell those stories.
Yeah,
but here's
got to protect the
stats. Okay, I'll give you some boring stuff. Kind of boring stuff, but kind of like
it's interesting,
concerning.
You got to know these stats.
So September 2020, it was a record at that time, which means it hadn't gone this high before. Mm-hmm. Single-family home, median single-family home price. What does that mean, median, Adrian?
Half of the homes sell for more, half sell for less.
Yeah, so new record, 880,000. And fast forward 1 year forward, September 2021, the median single-family price is $1,050,000. What the?
Yeah, just like what Duke was talking about.
Yeah.
You might be able to afford $1 million home, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it.
So we're seeing, and the amount of volume, closed transactions, about 391 back in September 2020. 424 closed transactions in September of last month.
Well, that's good news.
Days on market, more? About the same. 9 from a year ago. Here's what we're telling, we see this happening over and over and over and over again. That people, listen up, people. We're telling you what the market's like. Should they just start going to open houses, start going looking at homes?
No. Got to get organized. Get organized and get ready. You
got to get organized. It's like showing up for the Super Bowl and you've never played football before.
And after the break, that is who we're going to be talking with, someone who helps you to get organized and be ready. And the other thing too is that our team has specific strategies. We are getting people into escrow. Yeah.
What are the strategies? We're getting people into escrow. That's strategy 1.
So here's an interesting stat. So we've done about 110 transactions in 2021 so far.
So far, year to date.
Half of them have been with buyers.
Half of them with buyers.
The other half are sellers. So we have strategies.
If you want to come into the marketplace with a higher probability of success, you're hearing all the horror stories. Oh, I went to an open house. There was 51 people there, and they got 29 offers. You might want to give us a call, 799-9596. You know what? We do a completely 100% COVID-safe Zoom consultation with you. We're going to take you through the home buying process.
Answer all your questions.
We're going to share with you our secret strategies of how we got, I don't know, what is that, 60 people, 50 people into escrow?
Right, but here's the catch. You have to do your part, too.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership. We're going to be we're on the same team.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Kind of like the seesaw.
You got to do your part. We'll do our part. And then the success is the escrow.
Here's the seesaw. So we're the real estate team. We're on the upside, right? We're the high part. And we're asking you, go to the lender to get pre-approved. That's staying on the seesaw. But then you step off the seesaw. What happens? Boom. Our cola hits the ground.
Well, you can go to get pre-approved, and the lender tells you to do certain things.
So and you
got to do those things.
Then you go up. Then we go back down, and then there's stuff that we do, and then we go up, and then you go down, and then there's something you do. But we don't step off the seesaw. That's painful.
Stay on the seesaw.
Don't step off the seesaw. Why do I use these simple analogies, Adrian?
So people can relate. And
because you might be a first-time home buyer, but everybody's been on a seesaw.
Yeah.
And when you was not feeling too, your sister ate all your Halloween candy, you and step off the seesaw. Because she ate all your Halloween candy.
You're upset.
You're upset. You got to stay on the seesaw because she would have shared the candy with you if you asked nicely. But you can do like what I do with my kids. I say, I need to inspect this candy. I need to make sure it's safe. And then mysteriously, all the Snickers disappears. Because,
that's your candy of choice.
No, I'm just trying to keep the kids safe.
Yeah, keep them safe from diabetes.
I'm keeping them safe from the Snickers. And then after the Snickers, then it's Twix. What's your favorite? What? After the Twix, I don't know. It's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yeah, I like those. Those are my favorites.
And then, our neighborhood, they couldn't afford full size, so we used to go to other people's neighborhoods. We're to get the full-size candy bar. We used to go Hawaii Kai. I used to drive from Hauula with my pillowcase so I can go trick-or-treat in Hawaii Kai. Sorry, Hawaii Kai people back in the 70s. That was me. And then I get like 3 different masks. Then I just can go back 3 times. Like, hey, from the neck down, you look like this other
kid.
This other kid. No, that's not him. Anyway, and then we just stockpile the candy, see how long it would last.
Well, we'll see how this year's trick-or-treating goes, because I know last year's was
all COVID.
It was sparse.
I it's payback time, because I'm one of those neighborhoods where I think they bus them in. I think I saw literally Robert's Hawaii dropping the tour bus, dropping the kids off. It was all on TikTok because the bus had Wi-Fi. And then they come in, they're just like droves coming. Like, you can't even drive. So people are like, well, what neighborhood is that, Attilio? You know why? My neighborhood is the kind, yours neighborhood is that kind too. There's not all these fences. It's not like Fort Knox to get to the front door.
And the homes are pretty close to each other.
They're close to each other,
yes.
So you have a high candy collection ratio.
You don't have to walk too far. And
so you can get through a bunch of doors, and then, skip the dentist because he's the one giving out the toothbrushes. Dr. Nakamura, I'm going to go to your house because you was giving out toothpaste and toothbrushes. And need that after the next day for dentist. But Adrian's signaling for the break. But I got to tell you, my other candy, red vines. I like to put them on in the sun a little bit so they get nice and squishy and soft. Red vines, not Twizzlers. Twizzlers taste like the byproduct of a chemical factory. Sorry, you Twizzler people. They taste terrible.
Okay, on that note, I think it's time to take a break.
Don't interrupt me while I'm talking about Halloween candy.
When we come back, we'll be talking with the mortgage genius, Jodie Tanga of Pacific Rim Mortgage. We'll talk about the importance of being pre-qualified for a home loan.
So stay with us.
Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're my butterfly, sugar, baby.
Hey, it's Tina Holyfield with a Royal Ride on Country 97.5, and I gotta say, my friends Adrian and Attilio of Team Lally will really go out of their way to sell your home. Just ask Matthew and Marsha Wharton. They were responsible for selling a family estate in Laie by long distance. They weren't even here. Team Lally hired landscapers, a handyman, and painters to get the home ready, plus arranged to sell their truck, a motorcycle, and many other items. Talk about going out of your way. Team Lally received multiple offers and sold the home above asking price. Even as an investor, Matthew told me this was the best service he's ever received from a realtor team. Even if your home needs a little bit of work, don't pull off selling while the market is hot. Call Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. Call 799-9596. That's 799-9596. And tell them Dita sent you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Hawaii, I would hire Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Their marketing strategy is so effective that if your home doesn't sell on terms you agree to, Team Lally will buy it. Partner with the team I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity, and as you know, I am not afraid to be honest and say exactly what I feel. When it comes to selling your home, you need to know there are real estate agents out there that just rely on yard signs, and a few $100s in marketing. Now, I'm going to make this very easy for you and tell you about a team of real estate agents whose marketing plan is in a whole different league than anyone else you will talk to. I'm talking about Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. Now, Adrian and Attilio spend thousands of dollars every month and attract hundreds of buyers every week. Now, because of that, if they can't sell your home at a price and deadline that you agree to, they will buy your home. Real estate mogul and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran only recommends Team Lally in Hawaii. And if I needed to sell a home in Hawaii, I would call Team Lally. Call Team Lally now at 799-9596 or online at teamlally.com. That's teamlally.com. and consider your home sold.
Hey, Buck, as a real estate investor, if you were going to buy or sell property in Hawaii, what's the first thing you'd do?
That's an easy call. Call Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. They've always guaranteed to sell your home or they will buy it. I love that confidence and the marketing that backs it up.
You aren't alone. Sean Hannity, Colin Cowherd, Scotty B, and Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank all agree with us. Team Lally are the agents we trust, and that trust is well-founded. They're selling homes for up to $70,000 over asking. What would you do with an extra $70,000?
How much time do you have? I mean, I've got a long list. Do yourself a favor. Check out all the reviews and see why thousands trust Team Lally. Google Team Lally, or if you want immediate answers, give them a call at 799-9596.
And don't forget to check out the Team Lally Real Estate Show right here every Saturday morning at 10. Get the best advice from Team Lally.
To the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or We'll Buy It. I'm Adrienne.
And I'm Attilio.
And if you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey, our guest today is a highly experienced loan officer, mortgage banker, and broker in Hawaii. She grew up in Kailua, Hawaii, and is a graduate of Iolani. She went to the University of San Francisco, where she studied financial economics in an undergraduate and graduate school.
She also worked in banking on the mainland until coming back home to Hawaii and starting up Pacific Rim Mortgage. Please welcome our guest, Director of Business Development at Pacific Rim Mortgage, the Mortage Genius, Jodie Tanga.
Hey, Jodie.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I bet you if you was on Jeopardy and one of the categories was mortgages, you'd probably score big.
She would. She probably would make
I would hope
questions.
I would.
What is a lock? So what you got for us this week? Because...
Well, we want to say welcome back.
Yeah,
right?
welcome back.
You're on here all the time.
If you're somebody looking to get into the real estate, like buying a home, first time, second time, third time, you probably might want to pay attention to what Jodie's got to say, because it's tough out there.
Yeah. So, like earlier in the show when Duke was on, he was mentioning that a lot of the buyers that are in the market now have turned into renters because they're so frustrated with not being able to win their offer, and they just become renters.
Yeah.
And we said, we're going to be offering some solutions to those frustrated buyers with Jodie's appearance on our show today.
But what you got for us this week, Jodie?
Well, I mean, we, wanted to mention about, I actually just had an appointment this morning with a buyer that just needed some affirmations. Like we've did her qualifications, we ran her credit, she's given us all her documentation. She submitted about 3 offers, and they haven't been accepted. And so it's just a matter of explaining to them that you got to believe, like, you have to understand your goal. You have to understand first, can we agree the goal is to get an accepted offer? And how much, how important is that? Like, is it like, well, yeah, I kind of want to buy now, but I don't care that much, and so maybe I'll rent? I mean, if that's the case, then perhaps this market isn't for you. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm 50-50, I'm not even 100% sold on buying.
Yeah, that's the difference between...
So mindset.
That's the difference between meh and
chee-hoo.
You got to be chee-hoo in this market.
So your first tip, Jodie, is that your mindset, you got to get it straight.
You got to come
as a buyer.
out.
Yeah.
The bell rings, you got to come out of your corner swinging, because that's the market we're in. You know what? Mike Tyson gave the best advice. He says everybody's got a plan till they get hit in the face.
Could you do it in your Mike Tyson voice?
Yeah, everybody got a plan until I hit them in the face.
That's a Mike Tyson quote, and it's Mike Tyson, it's boxing. You're thinking, what does that have to do with anything? When you go out there and you write an offer,
and you get rejected,
that's Mike Tyson. Boom!
Punch in the face.
Punch in the face, and then you do it again, and then do it again. When you're going to realize you need to be Buster Douglas and sneak one in and take over the title.
Or take over the escrow.
Take over the escrow.
Get the escrow.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. So what kind of plans, Jodie? What kind of plans?
So
training.
we talk about, we talk about different structures.
Yeah.
So when someone says, okay, I have $50,000 available to utilize out of pocket, that's the total amount I'm willing to use, then we'll show them, okay, here's if you use all of it for down payment and closing costs. But then here's if you saved some of it for what's called an appraisal clause. And then we show them how the numbers and the monthly payments are going to be impacted because now you're putting less down and you're saving that. Instead of putting it towards a down payment, you're saving it in case the appraisal comes in low. And what that does is it does strengthen your offer. And it's really not something that is just common sense.
Yeah.
I think I go over it with the buyers multiple times because they're like, okay, wait, so what if the appraisal, and so, in just as an example, if you're offering $500,000 and you're saying that you're willing to give a $10K appraisal clause, what that means is even if it appraises $10,000 under what I'm agreeing to buy it for, I will still proceed no matter what. And so at that point, I explained to them, that's why now I have to show you the structure if it was to come in 10,000 under, because it's not the same as if it comes in at 500,000. And they're like, oh, because, sometimes they're like, why are you giving me two scenarios? And I'm saying, okay, one is if it comes in at 500, and one is if it comes in at 490, which you're saying in the offer that you are willing to proceed even if it comes in at 490,000. And I would say a big percentage of the buyers need that breakdown and those exact scenarios on paper and a full-blown discussion more than once before they really understand what they're agreeing to.
So Jodie, when you run these scenarios, I know it can make a big difference for, the buyer in securing the home. Yeah. Typically, what are we talking about as far as a difference on the monthly payments when we're
in that scenario?
Yeah, like in the one that you just shared.
490 plus 500.
Yeah.
Or 500.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, we might be talking about like a $30 to $40 a month difference in payment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People blow it out every day on Amazon, so no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when I quantify it for them and they can relate it to an actual figure, it does make it more comfortable. Like, wait, because here's the thing. Mentally, no one wants to pay more than it appraises for.
Yes.
Mentally, but you're going to be mental if you don't have that mindset because you're not going to get one house. Not in this market.
Well,
and so... Yeah,
I was going to say it's that buyer psychology. You're like a therapist for them.
You know what? Our experience,
breaking it all down.
Our experience is you might have to have about a 10% reserve. So we're talking more like $50K. I mean, maybe
I think it depends on the price.
Maybe 30
band of the
maybe
home.
30, but 10. I don't know. The buyers. I mean,
depends on the area.
Yeah, it depends on the area, and sometimes you got to know. You like, what was that guy? That song, The Gambler. What was his name? Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
You got to know when to hold them. Know when to walk away from the acceleration clause. So,
and so for us, it's like, let's just utilize numbers in decision making because that's obviously what we bring to the table. So when I know mentally you don't want to buy something for $500,000 when it's only on paper appraised for $490,000. But let's just quantify it. And then a lot of times the buyers are like, oh, okay, so now what? And then they start to understand. And it makes a big difference on strategy. It's literally strategy and helping someone digest and understand. Also, a big thing that I love about the Team Lally buyer agent team, which is taking the time to explain what is an appraiser's job and why in an upward trending market it may not appraise for what you're agreeing to pay for. Yeah. Does that mean it's not worth? Okay, so and that's a question I like to ask. So if you and 8 other buyers that submitted an offer on this property are willing to spend $500,000, but the appraisal comes in at $490, what do you think it's worth?
Yeah.
And I explained to them that the appraiser's job is to pull comparable actual sales, not what's listed, but what has actually closed, and then produce and illustrate a current market value. Now, the moment that we close, the moment that we officially record, and now this property, your property that you just bought, is going to be a comparable sold that is going to be used in the next appraisal.
Yeah, so when the moment the appraiser goes to get the comp, in an upward trending market, their comps are going to be lagging.
Although I did hear that they're able to add a little bit more because of the kind of market that we're in.
Well, and you got to think about it. The appraisers are doing a little CYA. Come on. We came, the 04, 06, 07, this appraisal stuff is what got us in trouble. Oh, yeah. That whole sold last year for $450. Yeah, I'll appraise it at $510. And that's exactly what they sounded like. I impersonated an actual appraiser.
So one of the things that we talk about with our sellers is that, the appraised value is going to be different what buyers are willing to pay.
We actually give we give the examples of your nosy neighbor, the Cliff Clavin. They know everything. You're going to have the Cliff Clavin nosy neighbor. You're going to have the Zestimates, tax assessments, appraisals.
But what's most important is what are buyers willing to pay?
Yeah, what is the buyer willing to pay? It's economics 101.
And in this market, buyers are willing to pay above appraised value.
Yeah. And
in other markets, maybe not.
Well, it's when the buyers start getting tired.
Yes.
They go to the open house, they're like, oh, I'm tired. And when they stop playing and stop participating is when the market will start correcting or slowing. Or interest rates, because then what's going on with interest rates? Up, down, sideways? What's your prediction? And we won't hold you to it.
So they are definitely trending upward.
Okay.
And the economic policy, the Federal Reserve chair has confirmed that they do want to start tapering the pandemic relief that has been happening, and that taper is going to be a very slow taper, and of course they can reverse course on that if the economic data proves to be worse off than anticipated. Then obviously they will taper less, because there has to be this perfect balance between increasing interest rates and making sure that the economy is
chugging along,
actively recovering. Yeah.
Well, it's that I word that nobody wants to talk about, inflation.
Right.
We have to avoid inflation, because if your house you don't think milk and gas and all the other products in our economy are going to go up along with homes. Real estate is a huge economic driver. And it sends a ripple effect through the entire economy. If your house costs more, you go into your boss and go, you know what? I paid more for my house, but no need one raise this week. I'm okay. I don't need a raise this year. I'll be all right. No, you're like, I need more money, boss. Do a better job, you get more money. So, Jodie, any more of the stuff? I know in the beginning of the pandemic, what you're helping us help them do is, and realtors and buyers, is manage the expectations. Manage their expectations, because when the expectations are not in alignment with the reality of the market, that's when people get pissed off and are like, I'm done with this. Or
I'm going to go rent. I'm going to just be a renter now.
Or, sorry, Mom, we're staying in the garage another 6 months. But we pay for all the pay-per-view, so everybody can come in the garage and watch with us. What are you seeing any COVID-related stuff, like people doing extra? Are they still doing the extra job verifications, making sure people aren't going to get COVIDed in their income or jobs?
A lot of the W-2'd workers that have returned to work and that have shown a consistent average 40-hour work week, where we can verify that that's the average hours that will be worked, and it is also validated with pay stubs. We're all good. The people that are still going to feel it, at least until the end of 2021 and probably further are going to be anyone that's self-employed.
Self-employed, yeah.
Unfortunately, as a self-employed person, we know that there's a high likelihood that you took a hit in 2020. Like, I get it. So I just had a conversation with a graphic designer, and he's like, well, you can't look at 2020 because obviously I wasn't working and taking graphic designing jobs. No one was, you know, and I'm like, no, I hear you. I also am self-employed. I hear you. But from a guideline perspective, we that's what we have to do. So that means everyone, you know, most people self-employed 2020s are low. And I still have to take an average. So, and not only do I have to take an average, but then I still need 3 months and a year-to-date profit and loss statement that is showing higher. So, for instance, if I'm saying that you make $6,000 a month, and I look at your bank statement and you're depositing between $1,000 and $2,000 a month, you're not getting approved.
Yeah.
So even if, so they're self-employed people. I feel for them. I mean, I am one of them. That also goes down to people there's a lot of people that are in production in terms of, like, you know, all of our movies and our television shows that are filmed in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So we work with a lot of them, and they're technically self-employed. Yeah. So even though they get a W-2, well, some of them actually get W-2s.
Oh, they do.
But
but seasonal or not steady, Freddie.
Right. It's what is it called? Not casual. I can't think of the phrase right now.
Nobody's going to be filming a movie for 10 years. So that's probably they're in that category, maybe a gig worker, but W-2. But the other thing, too, is, you know, here's the Star Wars analogy. So remember when Obi-Wan Kenobi was with Luke Skywalker and they were going into the town? And then the stormtroopers came up to him and said, "We are looking for droids." And the droid was sitting right behind him. And Obi-Wan Kenobi goes, "These are not the droids you're looking for." And then the stormtrooper goes, "Oh, yes, you may pass." So if Jodie was Obi-Wan Kenobi, she would be like, "These are not the tax years you want to look at."
Right.
Yes, we will not look at those. No, she's not Obi-Wan Kenobi, so.
It's too bad she can't get that wave.
Are you working on your Jedi mind tricks along with your Mortage Genius?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Every
For the self-employed, these are not the tax years we will be looking at. Okay. So be prepared with the paperwork, you know.
And be coachable.
Yeah.
Be coachable, because Jodie's going to give you a whole list of things that you need to do to prepare, and you got to do them.
My niece is a physical therapist, occupational therapist, and her hubby is a psychologist. And they're moving back to Hawaii from Seattle in about a year. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him and I said, you know what, you need to talk to Jodie now and start working on the game plan. Because they're like, "Oh, Uncle, should we call Jodie now?" I'm like, yeah, now. Work on the game plan now, because the more time you have between now and your goal, the better prepared you will be. Right? Working on credit, saving money, being realistic at what price points we're looking at, areas. So I told him do it now. Talk with Jodie.
And that's another thing with the self-employed people, because the year's coming to an end, and so I said, you know, I'll be happy to give you a draft, or to look at the draft, or give you a gauge of what you need 2021 to look like in order to then factor in a 2020 and 2021 average.
Yeah.
So that is why planning matters. Being strategic matters. Understanding why you don't qualify at this time matters. And I think that the beauty of the team that we've built at Pacific Rim Mortgage is that we have the bandwidth to be able to spend time with people that don't qualify now. And I know that it is difficult for other lenders to have the bandwidth to do that, because they don't have a team like I do.
Well, they're flush with business, and they're going for the low-hanging fruit and not really helping the people that really need it.
So, Jodie, you were on one of our Zoom meetings the other day, and you had shared a very impactful story with our team about just, you know, coming from abundance mindset and serving people at a high level.
Yeah.
So maybe you could share with our
was that
listeners
story?
too. Yeah, because I was pretty impressed with, how that all ended up turning out, and how you're serving our clients at the highest level.
Yeah, so it was a referral, and we called her. She guess what? She's self-employed. So, and she's a very smart self-employed person. So she was tracking everything I was saying. However, just rewind. Before, what we do, our normal flow is that we will, receive the referral and then contact them, gather all the information needed for us to do an assessment, and then we schedule a consult with me. But the same day that the consult is scheduled, an email goes out that they can reference so that when I call them, they, it's in front of them and they can be referencing it as we are discussing it together. A lot of people like receiving that information ahead of time as well. However, so I call her, and first thing she says, I can't believe you called me, because the email was, you don't qualify at this time. So she said, I have talked to so many lenders, and I never get a call back because they tell me I don't qualify, and then that's it. That's the end of it. There's no further communication. And she goes, so I just want to say thank you for even this phone call, for this time. And she said, all I needed was this type of strategic information because no one's ever told it to me. And now I know, and I feel motivated for filing her 2021 because she's like, I can do that. So we obviously did a big deep dive into like the numbers and what it's going to take. And I spent time telling her, like, if you were to report this much, then we would be able to qualify you for this much. And we just kind of did this back and forth. And I was sharing that it is with people. I mean, she actually ended up writing a Google review. And she's, we haven't even done business together, but she was so impressed, and she said, I'm going to refer everyone to you because you actually took the time to call me when I wasn't qualified. And she's also a business person, so she gets it. She's like, this is real service. And that's what I shared because, A, those are the people that need the help the most, and then, B, you never know where, as you build your sphere, where these referrals are going to keep coming from.
So bad on those other lenders for treating her like a redheaded stepchild, because Adrienne knows firsthand how that feels, because she does have reddish hair and she is a stepchild.
I am. And good on you, Jodie, for seeing the big picture, right? So,
or being willing to serve people.
Yeah, and being really willing to serve.
That's it. Giver's gain, so you continue to serve people.
Win-win.
And so it's good that you took the time to explain the email and give further context and explanation and manage your expectations.
Yes.
And give her a game plan on how to not be in that situation and eventually be a homeowner.
So one last question, Jodie, before we let you go and as we end our show. With all of this extra level of service that your team does it cost money up front to meet with you and have this consultation?
No, it doesn't.
This is all offered free. This
education.
coaching and strategies, all free.
Yeah. There's no application fee. There's no credit report fees. Like we don't pass anything on until we close business together. And it's a funny little segue. One of our clients called me and she said, "Hey, I just." Of course, talked to her sister, and she goes, she wanted me to ask you, if I want to cancel, how much am I going to owe you, and what is it going to take? And I said, her name was Lila. I said, Lila, if you want to cancel and you don't want to do business with us, then we're not going to hold you to it. There's no financial commitment, and we frankly don't want to do business with people that don't want to do business with us. She was like, I love your answer. That's such a great answer, but that's just truly how we feel.
And who wouldn't want to do business with you guys? You all are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, well, thank you for today, Jodie, and going a little deeper on strategy and how buyers can get into escrow.
You're like Mike Tyson's boxing coach.
That's right.
I do feel like I am a motivator at times. I really feel like a lot of my conversations, does stem from, don't give up. Like, let's understand the numbers, keep going, and if this truly is a goal, we just have to keep going.
You know, when you walk into Jodie's office, automatically this theme music is queued up. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da 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 da. Every time when you walk in her office, and you're like jumping around, you're like getting all excited.
Yeah.
Keep pre-approved. Drop and give me 20.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Jodie, for being on the show today and going deep with us and talking more about how our buyers can get into escrow.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Jodie.
Okay.
All right. So you can get a hold of Jodie and her team at 488-5510. Again, that's 488-5510. You can find a video from Jodie on our website under the resource tab and experts we trust.
Speaking of video.
Yes.
Speaking of videos, you know, we do a 3-in-1. It's a 3-in-1. Just imagine, like, if this was like a standalone website, it's 3-in-1. And it's 3-in-1. And what happens is there's 3 components to it. The first component is a YouTube video, of which is a compilation of drone footage, ground level video that's walking through the home, as well as maybe some still shots or some community B-roll. And so it's almost like we're Steven Spielberging.
It's like a little mini movie about the house.
Mini movie about the house. So that's one. What's the second thing? It's a 3-in-1.
Yep. Then there is the Matterport, which is
Matterport, because you matter to us.
That's right.
Sellers.
So you can click through the Matterport tour, and it has.
What's that kind of tour?
Yeah, it's very useful, user friendly. You click through at your own time and leisure, and you go to the different rooms. You can measure the size.
Let your mouse do the walking.
That's right. You can see what it looks like out of the windows.
You can look at the ceiling. You can look at the floor.
The floor plan, everything. It's very, very user friendly.
Yeah, and you can actually, there's a measuring tool. So let's say you got your like 15-foot, 1,000-pound stuffed marlin you want to put up on the wall, and you're wondering, will it fit in that space? In that 2-bedroom townhome in Eva Beach? Without ripping the wall down and having the sword nose part going into your neighbor's apartment. You can measure the spaces. All of this is COVID safe. We also have Howard. What's he do on the weekends? Or he actually does it during the week and then it plays.
Oh, he does all of our
tours.
Open houses as a virtual open house.
Completely COVID safe.
So make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn for those virtual open houses.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you to our sponsors.
Jodie Tanga and Derek Tanga of Pacific Rim Mortgage.
Bradley Mariama of Allstate Insurance.
Kenji Vendetta of Pillar to Post Home Inspections.
John Speed of Kilauea Pest Control.
Do Kim Han of Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Kyle Shimoda of Impact Wealth Solutions.
Robinson Villavere of Fine Line Paintworks.
James Santiago of Kaji Cleaning.
Chastity Baisa-chan of American Floor and Home.
Jake Kisek of Skyta Construction Roofing and Solar.
Broderick Sherwood of Zero Res Hawaii. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, just go to teamlally.com.
We also want to give a big thank you to Leah Rodriguez, our producer here in the studio. Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life
forever. This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the guaranteed
sold program. If we can't sell your home at the agreed upon price and or terms, we'll have it bought for cash. Thanks and aloha.
The preceding program was sponsored by Team Lally.